What is up, everybody? On this Mileage Unknown, I'm over at my place playing with Poopy. Now, I've got a couple different products I'm going to try that I've never done before. One that I'm surprised I had no clue worked on so many things. So, I'm going to flip you around, show you what we got going on today. So Poopy is my 1976 Dodge Dart Sport, and honestly, the Arizona sun is just killing what's left of the paint on this car. Now, the paint actually shines up pretty nice when you buff it all out and spend hours and hours trying to clean it up. But today I'm gonna try some Shine Juice on it. This is the Vice Grip Garage Shine Juice. It is a wipe-on oil-based product. You wipe it on, let it soak, and then wipe off the excess. Another thing that I'm gonna play around with today is SOS pads with the soap. I had no idea you could use these to clean some of the chrome and bright work and glass and everything under the sun. And honestly, at some point this car looks like it might have had a molding on it. So I'm gonna try and clean that old residue off without going too much, because obviously I don't want to stripe that either. But I think we're gonna take the SOS to the trunk, lid, the roof, to try and pull some of that rust off of it. We got that filler panel in the back, the bumpers. So throughout the process, I'm probably going to be shocked that steel wool works, or these SOS pads work as good as I've seen them work for other people. Now, the only thing I'm concerned about, it's already hot, there's sun out already, and as you can see, I don't know that I'm fitting Poopy in the garage. Even if I pull Pop's 56 out, there's not a ton of room to walk around it. Now, nothing on here really says don't do in direct sunlight, but I'm probably gonna have to reread the instructions just to make sure. I mean, it does say it's flammable, so that could get interesting. The funny thing I thought was watching some of Vice Grip's stuff, he's like, I think we send it with some old t-shirts to use as applicators. And sure enough, there's 3 ripped up pieces of t-shirts. So I'm gonna stop talking now and kind of get busy, and we'll test a few spots with the SOS before I go crazy and maybe show you the before and after. But as you can see, so much of the paint on the car is just so thin, and I don't want to make it a ton worse. This is kind of interesting. I'm guessing that's where the roof was attached, so it's reacting even a little different. But so we're probably going to do a little, like, some test areas here and there, and I'll kind of show you as I go along. First, we're going to take the SOS pad to this mirror and mirror glass, which I don't know how good you can see, but that glass is super cloudy and janky. So we'll see how that goes. I'm quickly realizing it's very hard to go back and forth between what I'm scrubbing, washing, and recording. So I'm gonna show you a bunch of the bad areas before. I'm gonna scrub up as much as I can. We'll rinse off and see what they look like after. I'm curious to go nice and easy on the roof to see how that actually turns out. Got a little bit of rot, got some bumper shenanigans. I think I'll clean up pretty good. Maybe in that filler taillight panel area. And then, like I said, you can see it on this side too, the remnants of that striping. I don't want to go too far because I don't want to make it worse. So there's a little before. You can actually see how much rust and rust staining is coming off on the roof. So the roof's gonna look quite a bit different. Now, I can tell you this is taking longer than I thought it would. And we are at a point where it is already getting hot. So if I'm gonna get shine juice on it, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have to bust through this. Now, if you look at how much different, which maybe it doesn't look that much different and it's still kind of wet, the trunk looks quite a bit different. This was way more rusty looking, and a lot of that got pulled off with the SOS pad. So I'm gonna kind of continue to hit up the whole car as fast as I can in the areas that need it the most. And then I'm gonna give it a good wash because clearly she's looking dirty. But unfortunately, so that molding tape, I do think would come off. I got some off over here, but the problem then ends up being you're starting to get into the paint. So I'm not gonna go crazy on that because I don't want to make a weird stripe of SOS stuff. Kind of hard to do one-handed, but if you were wondering how bad the paint's starting to deteriorate, the soap is brown. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm spending more time than I should to get a result that's just gonna be what it is. But yeah, Poopy's got some dry old paint that's just coming off as you wash. All right, guys, I'm not gonna lie. Trying to just wash poor old Poopy here has been a bit of a chore. And honestly, I think it is too hot to do the shine juice. Now, I had the car backed in kind of in the shade, and I did like half the trunk, and it was soaking this stuff up like crazy. So I think a combination between it was still hot and the paint is just that bad that it just is too hot to do it. So tomorrow morning, I think I'm gonna get up early while it's still cool outside, try and shine juice the whole car. So the SOS pads, I do think helped in a couple areas. They definitely helped pulling a lot of the rust off the roof and the trunk and bringing it down to a different level. As far as some of the metal and the bright work, it helped clean a lot of the rust off of that. Was it mind-blowing? No. But also, as I washed the car, it just recovered everything I tried. So I don't know how big of an improvement it actually was. I mean, you saw how much paint was coming off just washing the car. I'm gonna flip you around, show you just the applicator and the wipe off rag from half of the trunk. So it's still pulling paint off even with the shine juice. This is the applicator rag from half of the trunk. And you know, you can see that's a lot of brown. That was the wipe off rag from half of the trunk. Still a lot of brown. So I think part of the heat is an issue as well. You can see, like I said, I almost need to wash my wash, right? But you can see all the rust on the bright work that was there came off. The roof looks like it pulled a bunch of the staining off, and so it's not as bad. There's a few other areas now. You can see this was me trying to clean up some of that stuff, so it definitely scuffed it up. But I think the shine juice is actually going to help absorb and clean some of that up anyway. But it almost looks like I need to wash the wash on poor old Poopy here, because you can see how spotty and patchy and everything it looks, right? So we'll see. But like I said, I think the heat is a major factor. And I don't know that I got a super good coat. I will say the shine juice on the tail lights. Look at these tail lights and trim rings versus those tail lights and trim rings. The shine juice actually worked really well on the plastic on the lenses. Now you can kind of see the line on the trunk, the difference from side to side, and you can see how much darker and kind of shiny the rust area is versus here on this side of the trunk. But like I said, I think it's really too hot for me to have even tried. So, you know, that's just a quick side-by-side out here in the heat. You can definitely see a difference in the shine from side to side, but you can also tell, you know, I didn't get it applied very well because of the heat, or it was drying too quick by the time I wiped it, or whatever the case may be. So I don't think that's a really a very good side by side. So I'm hoping tomorrow morning I can come out and just do the whole car, because you know, it gets hot enough here fast enough that if I try and do like a side by side on the hood, I'm gonna have to wait till that side dries, and I'm gonna lose the time to do the rest of the car. So I think that's the plan as of right now. We're gonna hit this up tomorrow. All right, so it's the next day. I'm out, it's cooler, and I'm gonna get cracking before I lose the opportunity. Let me flip you around. I'm curious to like what this will do to the hood. Granted, I'm probably gonna do a bunch of this off camera, or maybe time lapse. I don't know, we'll see. But I wanna get you up close and personal for a couple things. So here's how the hood looks the next day dry. And I'm curious to how it's gonna come out. So in case you're wondering, this is what it looks like when I pour some in a little container. They say a little goes a long way, so I guess we'll put that to the test today. But just gonna kind of fold up one of these little rag pieces here so I can get a good dump and soak maybe a little bit. I don't really think I need it dripping, but I'm just trying to get a good coverage over everything. Definitely looks like it is, you know, kind of evening out those dry spots. But man, I tell you, the paint on Poopy feels so dry. But I'm sure compared to some of the really dry cars that have been done, this isn't actually that bad, but it definitely seems to be covering pretty nicely. It's my first time, so I'm sure you don't want to be too heavy or too light. I don't know the perfect. So we're supposed to get the whole car covered, let it soak in for like 30 minutes or so. Maybe you can kind of see just the quick transformation on the hood. The crazy part is on some of the stainless is where it really seemed to make a difference in the back when I was kind of playing around. You know, when you see how dull some of the stainless was. See, I can see some of my wipes and stuff, but I don't know if I should go over it again to try and even some of that mess out. Dance, I keep seeing little spots, so I'm kind of going over again, I guess. I don't know. I mean, the paint is so beat up and splotchy anyway, but I also don't want to see weird dry spots either, right? Now, I'm gonna get you down here. This is something I thought was cool on the taillights, actually. We got that side marker right there. And it's crazy. It's funny on video, this side marker looks better than it actually is. There is overspray. It is as dry as can be and cracked and mostly yellow looking, but kind of brought back some of the orange. So this stuff goes on super easy so far. It actually smells really good considering you'd think it would be a much more pungent smell. I'm trying to be careful around my dard emblem. That's wanting to fall off any day here. I mean, you can kind of see the difference between just the fender and the door already. So I had done that side of the trunk already. But you can see how it just kind of takes off everything and coats everything. Which I'm gonna go over that side again. Just because I'm here and we're doing it a little bit more legit this time than me playing around yesterday. Right? I said the bright work is what's crazy. I'm sure once I wipe it off, it might look a little different, but shoot, I'm trying to get down into the gaps because that works so good on the bright work. Every duster, every one that my friends, anyone's ever owned, has at least one corner bashed in. One of the taillight corners, every single car. It's crazy. Even there you can see where I stopped with the roof. Oops, I got a lot on there that time. We'll be able to work that down, I think. I mean, when you stand back and look at it, how big of a difference the quarter to the fender and the door look. Granted, I keep stepping back because I keep seeing little spots I missed.
My uncle had one just like that.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome.
Thanks. Definitely a big transformation. Unfortunately, I can still see like some water drip lines from the car sitting out here so long, but kind of is what it is at this point. Every time you wash this car, you guys saw, you lose a bunch of paint. But I mean, we've been going 20 or so minutes. I've knocked out the hood, the roof, the trunk, and that whole side of the car. And we're gonna hit everything else real quick. I'm gonna do a quick walk around to see if I missed any dry spots. So far, the roof, the trunk, and that whole side of the car has barely taken anything. I don't even think I had this, you know, full to a line, but barely used any of the shine juice itself. So a little bit does go a long way. I just keep changing and wiping and changing. But as I super load that one up, we'll get to spread that out a bit, I think. So in case you're wondering why I decided to do shine juice instead of like one of the wipe on clear coats or something like that, because honestly it's already super hot in Arizona. two, honestly, two, I'd never tried any of the products, and I kind of wanted to try Shine Juice. It's not a permanent solution, so at some point, I'm guessing if you do another dishwash soap wash on this thing, you probably pull a lot of this back out. Or you wait a few months and do the deal, right? Do it again. Which, compared to waxing a car for hours on end or polishing and whatnot. So, still just a little bit left. I'm gonna play around in those bumper fillers with this stuff. We're supposed to let this sit for like 20-30 minutes and then do like just a wipe off to kind of even it out, I think. So, all right, so to actually get everything coated up, we're probably about 30 minutes or so. I'm gonna flip you around. We'll take a look. I'm starting to see some streakiness and some weirdness. I don't know if that's just what it looks like before it dries or kind of dries. I still have to do like the final wipe on it. But yeah, let's take a look. It definitely looks brighter, cleaner, shinier than it did. But like, it's funny, like I was saying, you can see kind of the water lines running down in certain spots. But those were water lines before. That wasn't the Shine Juice, right? I was gonna try and get some in there on these bumper fillers, but man, it's just soaking it up and probably gonna take more product than it's worth. But yeah, see, there's another water line, but I noticed some of my wipes on the door. You can kind of see them coming through. I don't know. Same on this fender. There we go. You see that? Now I feel like I got everything coated really good and went back and kind of touched up some spots here and there that looked a little drier. So I don't know if that's because the paint is that dry on this car, or if that's what it looks like kind of before you do the final wipe down. So, but for the first time ever doing it, it looks great and it was super easy to do. And I mean, here's the can. My guess is, I don't know how full it was to begin with, but I mean, there's still at least probably more than 3/4, because I doubt the can was all the way full. So I probably used, you know, an inch worth out of that can. So the ability to do this again is there. And I think, you know, actually doing it a few times on this car probably wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. I'm not saying I'm gonna do this every weekend or anything, but you know, for how it looks, and hopefully it's actually soaking into that dry paint and will help protect it a little bit more. It's crazy how dark the rust spots got on the roof and on the trunk. It took all that chalky red rust out and really just kind of turned it almost dark black. But it looks cool. It looks cool. I'm gonna let it dry. Then I'll do a wipe down, and then maybe we'll come back out here when it's in the sunshine and get a better look. So we're going on 30-ish minutes now. I've let it soak in. Let's walk around really quick and just look at the car again, and you'll see some of the wipe marks coming through even more so. So I'm hoping when I do the final wipe down, it kind of evens everything out. Then I don't know. I might clean the windows really quick, and you can see the sun. It's starting to creep in on me, and it's already picking up temperature. So I better get to wiping. All right, but I'm not pushing super hard on this. I'm just kind of going back and forth. I get the feeling if I push too hard, I'm gonna get some some streaks just the way that this is looking for me already, because that's just running across the hood. We're already picking up some stuff. So, and I can see a couple streaks in the hood now that weren't there previously. Like I said, I almost think this paint is just so crazy dry that in a weird way right now I feel like I'm making it look worse than it did. Lots of stuff still coming off. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm making it worse. Honestly, the suspense is killing me. I don't know that I can wait for the sunshine to come out. I'm gonna hop in Poopy, drive around for 15-20 minutes, find a good sunshiny parking spot. I honestly am really hoping the sun and the heat level some of my wipe marks out, because I mean, granted, I've never used it before. You know, it seems simple enough, but did I do it right? I really don't know. Would another go round with it make it better? Probably, actually, but let's go for a cruise real quick and see what happens. All right, so I've been driving around for a little bit. I pulled over in a nice quiet park and wanted to check the car out in the sunshine. And it's crazy. The spots in the sun look incredible and shine really nicely. I bet this thing looks pretty cool going down the road. I could have cleaned up the tires and wheels a little bit, but it looks pretty bad. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. It looks pretty bad. But it's weird. You get on the shadow side and you can see some of the wipes and stuff like that, even in the hood a little bit. So, you know, maybe a couple heat cycles, it'll level out a little bit more. I honestly think the car would benefit from doing a whole nother go round on it. And that might happen in a week or two when I can get up early in the morning and give it another go round. But let's flip you around and take a look at the car real quick. I mean, as you can see, Poopy is shining. And this, like I said, in the sunshine side, you really don't see a whole lot, but you can tell how thin the paint actually is. You can see the different color kind of waves and stuff in it. I think the roof actually came out pretty cool. And I think this will I think the shine juice will actually help kind of slow down losing some of the paint like we are on Poopy. I mean, at some point this car could just be all rust and shenanigans, but see, it's weird. Like, you see some of the gasoline color shenanigans more on the shadow side. Like, it looks like I did a terrible job washing the car, which, you know, you guys saw when I was washing how much came out. And then even the hood, like I said, I think maybe I was working it too much or not enough. I don't know. It's a totally new product for me. But when you stand back and look at it, it looks pretty freaking awesome. But man, it is crazy to see how thin the paint actually is on Poopy. And that's what you're seeing a lot of the color variations, is just different thin areas in the paint. But man, overall, I think it looks awesome. So I don't know why I didn't think about it in the other parking lot, but I decided to flip the car around in this parking lot so we could take a quick look at the side that was in the shade, so you can see what it looks like not in the shade. Like I said, for some reason in the sun, the stuff works incredible. The shady sides, I can see some of my wipes, and there again, it might have just been my application of the product, how bad the paint is on Poopy. But I do think one more coat of this stuff would actually be really good for the car. So there's the side that was in the shade. And I can still see some of the wipes, but a lot of it is just the paint itself. The fade and the streakiness is from rain and stuff. And I mean, Arizona is brutal on paint, and you can see how thin the paint is. That's why you're getting the different metallic patchiness throughout. But overall, it still looks great. It's just, it looks better in the sunshine than it does in the shade. It really does. I mean, in the shade, I can see some of my wipes and stuff, but in the sunshine, you really can't. So it looks It looks cool. I definitely think I would use this again, and I think Poopy is gonna get another coat of this. That can of Shine Juice was probably 50 bucks, I think. And I think I could probably do the car 3 or 4 times, this car, that size, 3 or 4 times, just because I didn't use that much. And I think the result is actually really good for the amount of effort that was put into it, you know? I mean, I was recording this, obviously, and that takes extra time. So to just do it to your car really quick, it was probably about a 30-minute wipe on, 30-minute wait, 30-minute wipe off, right? Not even a 30-minute wipe off, but you get the picture. Probably an hour and a half to do versus trying to buff the paint on this thing would have taken hours upon hours. Now, if I do a second coat in a week or two, a re-clean and a second coat, we'll take another look at it and see if it looks better, worse, how, you know. I think just because it was my first time trying to record, do everything, maybe I didn't get as good of a result as I could have. Like I said, it's weird. In the shadow sides, you see more than you do in the shine sides, right? In the sunshine. But overall, I actually think it came out really cool for really cheap. I mean, you know, you think, like I said, I think it was 50 bucks. I could probably do it 3 or 4 times. We'll see how long it lasts too. Maybe in a week or two, I'll give an update before I do it again, just to see what it looks like at that point. But overall, I like the Vice Grip Garage Shine Juice. It'll probably get used on some other cars. If you guys ever used it, put in the comments below. Tell me what your results were on it. That's going to be it for this Mileage Unknown. Stay tuned for more car shenanigans.